Thank you everybody for that raucous applause. We love to see it. Another one, please. I'm going to stand here. I am Isabel. You can call me Iz. I will be your MC for the evening. My controller. 4:25. I have my cue cards here, ready to go for the flow of the evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, girls and gays, to the happy couple. And a man, so the first feature of the evening is a man who needs no introduction. It is Mark, Rachel's father.
That sounded like well, I've got a speech, I might go off piece a bit, I hope I don't go too far off it, but let me start by saying what a fabulous day so far, and it will be for the rest of the day. It's a huge honour for me. Honestly, when I went into that building over there and saw Rachel in her dress for the first time, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Back as a princess all over again. So we'll start with some thank yous. Thank you everybody for coming. There's far more than I thought there'd be. There's loads of you to come and celebrate the wedding of Rachel and Nathan and Rachel. And I do hear some people have been saying that Nathan's thinking of changing his name to Sandler. No, maybe not. Okay. So special thank yous first of all to the people who've travelled furthest. Not necessarily in distance order, to Louis and Greg from Scotland. And I wrote this before I knew, but you can tell who they are. And as I said to them, I think a good wedding has some men in kilts. And I do mean that, I really mean that. From Norway, Tis. From California, Richard and Grace. From Australia, Charlotte, who I talked to earlier. From New Zealand, Lauren and Bella, and also Janice. And from a boat somewhere in the Atlantic, Julie and Peter. Honestly, I don't know quite where you live anymore, so that's the best I can come up with. And thank you to everybody else, for all the people that have travelled from all over Finchley, and some of the less significant parts of England. I think it's also, kind of seriously here, brilliant that the older generation, I mean, I think I'm probably the older generation, but there's an even older generation than me that's here. And we've got not one, but two Margarets, and Edward. And Edward's friend, which is great, who I only met yesterday, and I apologise. Patrick, thank you. So, Edward and Margaret are Nathan's grandparents, and the other Margaret is Rachel's extra grandmother. And of course, this was mentioned earlier, we're all a little bit sad that my mother, Ruth, and Valerie's father, Graham, who both knew both of them very well indeed, obviously Rachel, known by my mother and her grandfather and Graham, but who knew both of them, loved them dearly, and we missed them. I missed them both terribly. Sad that they can't be here, and we all know that they'd be so proud, so happy to see both of you, to see Rachel looking like she does, and Nathan looking so brilliant today in his beautiful suit. Thank you. And then there's also people who certainly don't know all of them. Brian's parents who can't be here, who've passed on. My father, who died a long time ago, Valerie's mother as well, who was another Margaret, and lent her name to Rachel as her middle name. Okay. So, I will be saying a few things about Rachel, but I'm going to start with Nathan. So, Nathan, you are a brilliant addition to Clan Sandler and Clan Smith. You're calm, you love washing up, you're a musician, you code. There's a few of us over here who we used to call it programming. And most of all, as we heard earlier, you actually know how to manage Rachel, which I have to say, I don't think either Valerie or I ever quite mastered. So, we've heard a bit of this story, but I'll tell it my own way. One Friday night, I often have the three kids over with whatever partners. They don't all come, sometimes it's one or two or whatever. I think they were all there, and Rachel said, "Dad, Nathan would like to ask you about Grandma's ring." Oh, I thought, okay, what is it, Nathan? Can I see it, says Nathan. So I go upstairs to where I've put it, and this is footsteps coming up the stairs, and it's Abigail, and she says, "You know why Nathan wants to see the ring, don't you?" And I say, "No." Because I didn't click, really. But yeah, that's why. We know now why Nathan wants to see the ring. So, yeah. Well, at least Abigail had guessed what was going on. I'll keep this pretty cool. Now move over to Rachel. Where do I start? I start with her beginning, which was the 23rd of January 1992 at 2 p.m. precisely. And we know it was precise because Valerie at that time was a management consultant and everything had to be on time. In fact, Valerie was in hospital for a while before that and was busily doing jigsaws for several weeks, as I recall. On the elected day, I was sitting reading The Guardian, which I don't often do, and 45 minutes later, 2:45, there was Rachel, our new little princess. My earliest memory of being with Rachel is when I would lie on the sofa and I would put her about this big, maybe that big, on my chest, and we'd both fall asleep. It probably wasn't a good idea. So, on the subject of princess, because she is today, and she always wanted to be a princess, and we used to remember, I'm sure Valerie does as well, in the garden, in a pretty little princess-type dress, probably with, frills and stuff, spinning around, role-playing of some sort, and I think she was probably telling all those suitor princes to go away, because she was waiting for Prince Nafi. She went to Muswellbrook Primary School and then on to Fortismere, and I have to say it's really touching that Izzy, who's right close to me, and so many other people here went to either or both of those schools. And did you know, was someone at preschool with you? No. Okay, not preschool. Okay, it doesn't go all that way back. Only 30 years. No, it's just brilliant to see you still enjoying yourselves. And on the topic of enjoying yourselves, I remember the parties at the Avenue. We lived at the time opposite Alexandra Palace Park, and I think they were around 15, and somehow or other our house became the location for parties. There may have been others, but I wasn't aware of them. Obviously parents were not to be seen, but we were in the house, and I can remember a hot summer's day, windows are open, young people outside, laughing, having a great time, and I was thinking, isn't this brilliant? They don't need any drugs to have a really great time. And then the next morning, I found all the empties. The beer bottles, the wine bottles, I can't remember if there was anything else, there may have been. But because it's Muswell Hill, they were all neatly stacked in the recycling bin. So then there was A-levels. I'm going to skip through most of the rest of the life from that. A-levels, college to study theatre arts, and we have Lucy here from those days too. Working with Noam, where Rachel had so many lovely summers on camp. Then the Anne Frank Trust. And all of this was gradually signposting her towards her career today as a super brilliant primary school teacher. And I have this on extremely good authority that I'm willing to share with you later. A lady called Barbara Stern told me so, and anyone who knows Barbara Stern believes her, or believed her. So, yeah. In order to prepare the talk, I thought I'd better look online to make sure I get all the right elements. And the next one, the penultimate one, is advice to the couple. So this is deeply from the heart, things I've learned in life. And they are two things. The first is to floss regularly and go to the dental hygienist often. And the second one is to get your names in now if you want to be a member of the MCC, because it takes a long time, and I wish I'd done it in go. Very useful, I hear from the hecklers. Okay, so can you now raise your glasses and give a toast to the beautiful, wonderful couple, Rachel and Nathan.
Thank you so much, Mark, for that gorgeous speech. And thank you so much for outing myself, Rachel and Nathan, and all our friends for underage drinking. But at least we're neat about it. So, on to the second speech of the evening. We are hearing from Carmel and Lucy, our maid of honor. So everybody, a round of applause for them, please. So we'll first hear from Carmel. Rachel and Nathan we've known you since we were teenagers. We've known you since Skinny Jeans, since Lightspeed Champion, and also we've known you for as long as the big Top Shot by Oxford Circus, R.I.P. So thank you so much.
So, hi everyone. We are Carmel and Lucy, as Isabel said, and we are Rachel's maids of honour. So today we're here to celebrate Rachel and Nathan, but mostly Rachel.
What can we say about Rachel?
Fearless.
Heroic.
Authentic.
Iconic.
The greatest of all time.
Yes, Rachel did ask us to say those things. But in all seriousness, she is one of a kind.
So, as hard as it is to imagine now, I've actually known Rachel even before her and Nathan got together. And my first memories of Rachel, circa 2K6, I would say, involve a lot of heavily side-swept fringes, a lot of Smirnoff Ice. I think Mark was being kind when he said wine and beer. And also her infectious fits of laughter while we were locked up together in the music practice rooms at school pretending to sing. And besides moving to a middle parting, not a lot has changed since then. Not even the Smirnoff Ice. We still share our love of music and singing since those choir days, Rachel is never one to turn down a karaoke session, as those that were at her hen do will attest to. Singing until you lose your voice is really the perfect example of how you are forever giving all of yourself to the moment and to those you love. To say Rachel is a devoted friend would be the biggest understatement. You can run to Rachel with the hottest piece of gossip or the worst thing that's ever happened to you, and she will be just as kind, loyal, and supportive. It's really no surprise that with us today are friends from every job she's ever had, every school she's been to, and every course she's ever taken. It's much harder not to be friends with Rachel. I'm very lucky to have grown closer and closer in the past few years to Rachel over our shared love of swimming. And I now know that we truly go to any length for each other.
I met Rachel when we were both starting at Bryce and Uni. Our relationship quickly formed over Made in Chelsea pizza nights. They were great, trust me. Dancing until closing time in clubs. Singing Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber, and 1D songs in the car. We had great taste of music. And late nights working, watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer until we were both delirious. In our 14 years of friendship, Rachel has been there for me whenever I have needed her. And I am so lucky to be able to call her my best friend. I will not cry. I was beyond excited when Rachel told me she was in a relationship. I immediately started compiling a list of questions to make sure that this boy, called Nathan, was worthy of her, because she deserves nothing less than the best. When I met Nathan, I immediately knew I had nothing to worry about.
So perhaps she hides it well, but those who know Rachel know that deep down she loves a bad boy. Spike from Buffy, Justin Bieber, and, well, Nathan. The first night they met, in those notoriously dark and dingy streets of Crouch End, Nathan, aka the Thug, fresh off his set with his screamo hardcore punk band Native Birds, greeted us all, bleeding from the face from a fight, and Rachel was in love. Watching their love grow and blossom over the past 9 years since that fateful night has been an immense joy. Rachel has helped Nathan leave his thuggish ways behind. And even talked him into a much-needed eyewear upgrade. While our close friendship group has had its fair share of relationship drama, Nathan and Rachel have been a constant rock, and Nathan has slowly earned his place as a statutory +1 to any group hang. When Rachel confidently strode right into a river and immediately slipped and fell on her bum in our last trip to Cumbria, Nathan immediately stepped into gear. He shushed our laughter when Rachel's laugh suddenly turned into tears, and he helped her home to relax in her favourite way, with a shower and a poo. It really encapsulated how in tune they are with each other.
It was clear early on that her relationship with Nathan was the real deal. So after a few years, thoughts started to turn towards marriage. Surely Nathan was going to propose soon, but the years went by, and no proposal. We thought surely, in New Zealand, the perfect place to propose. But still no ring. Maybe there are many holidays eating ice cream in Italy. But still no ring. Rachel was clearly trying to send hints because her determination made her. She was determinedly making sure that her nails were on point for a year, but still no ring. Finally, after 8 years together, it happened. Rachel and Nathan, we are all beyond happy to be here with you on your magical day, and we wish you the best life together as husband and wife.
Everyone, please raise your glass. To Rachel and Nathan.
Nice one.
Another round of applause, please. Thank you so much for Carmel and Lucy, our gorgeous maid of honours, for your amazing speeches and the tea. I realised I didn't get a chance to intro Lucy, so when I checked in with Rachel when preparing for the speeches, I asked Rachel, how would you describe Lucy? And in 3 words, Rachel shared with me that Lucy is loyal, loving, and loves a laugh. And, I mean, what more could you want? And so I believe we're doing a little break. So everybody, we're adjourning for a little break, a little top up, a little drink, and then food, don't forget food. So please do enjoy, and one final round of applause, please, everybody. Hello? Hello, everybody. I'm aware. Hi again. Hi. Oh, they're married still. Woo! I hope everybody has had a lovely dinner. I'm getting some feedback about turning the music down. That is happening now. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has had a lovely meal and we're all fed and watered. It is golden hour streaming behind the gorgeous couple. Thank you, Mother Nature. So speech 3, the penultimate speech of the evening, is given by none other than Martin and Tom Glover. So, to introduce Tom, in so many words, I have down Tom Glover is Nathan's bestie. Tall,
good.
funny,
Okay, that's lots.
and has, I'm not sure, a lovely flat in Crouch End we all used to get drunk at when we were younger.
But older.
But older than when we got drunk at your house, Mark. Joining him on the speech of the best men is Martin. And when asked to describe Martin, because I'm not going to lie, I don't know the boys as well as I do the girls, Martin has been described as outdoorsy, northern, and a dad. So yeah, thank you so much. I'll hand it over to you.
All right, hello everyone. As the wonderful introduction has already done, my name is Tom, and I'm one of the best men. And I think I'm in a fairly unique position here. There's lots of people in the room have known Nathan and Rachel individually for longer than me. But by my reckoning, I think I've known both the longest. So whilst many of you will know that Nathan and I became instant friends age 11 at Alexandra Park School, the Superior Secondary School of Muswell Hill. I think less people will know that I knew of Rachel from Muswell Hill Primary School, the Superior Primary School of Muswell Hill. Although we weren't in the same year, thank you, her notoriety as an up-and-coming poet meant the whole school knew of Rachel. Now, I know we'd all love for Rachel to perform the rabbit. No? No. But time is limited. So come find me afterwards. I've got her first published piece of work.
Thank you. And I'm Martin, and I'm the other half of this best man duo. Mine and Nathan's story starts at Lancaster University in 2010, where I followed my brother's advice to make a friend on day one, to cook with and to shop with, to share the load and to make life that bit easier. The mistake I made, picking someone who couldn't cook. And as Rachel said, I became the chef to Nathan's sous chef. Where Nathan did excel then, though, was at FIFA, on which we lost endless hours whilst drinking tequila in those 3 years. In between, Nathan claiming he was revising for his music degree whilst listening to the Beatles, of course, and for which he's taken great pleasure in beating me with ease, showing off his love for Tottenham or Arsenal, depending on the day of the week.
So I'm not a big one for convention, but we do need to start by saying how honoured we both were to be asked to be your best men, Nathan. We're going to do our best to show everyone the Nathan that we know and love in a moment, but first, Rachel. You don't need us to tell you how wonderful you look today. What we really want to say is how much we value our friendship with you independently of Nathan. We love your warmth, your laugh, and how you put a supportive arm around people when they need it. Nathan has hit the jackpot. We also just need to shout out the rest of the bridal party, Carmel, Abby, Anissa, Lucy, Jamal and Julian, who've been helping out behind the scenes, and you might see some more of some of them, and kind of today and in the run-up. So a big thank you to the whole bridal party.
Now, that's done. Let's get on to Nathan. We both did some thinking, and whilst we have lots of stories involving Nathan, he was never really the punchline and was often there to help clean up the pieces in the aftermath. What we did reflect on was just how much he's grown up during this relationship and how important Rachel's been in that growth. You may be surprised to hear that he's not always been the suave, rugged, bearded man that sits before you today.
So, we decided the best way to do this was to talk about all of our firsts with Nathan. Some of these may shock you, but hopefully it helps to paint a picture of Nathan. So starting off, our first festival, Latitude, age 16. Strangely, this coincided with my first experience of fraud. Thanks to one late-running friend, we all missed our train to the festival. Oh no. Nathan quickly came to the rescue, volunteering to buy everyone's replacement rail ticket and utilise the assets that God gave him. That's you. There they are. They're coming. 1 second. Here we go. Here's the assets. Just slow down. Well, just speed up even. I don't know. Just enjoy the photos. So this is Nathan, age 16. We were very, very appreciative. Looking at that young man. How could any Greater Anglia employee say no to Nathan buying 10 under 12 single tickets to Horizon?
That is a shoe. It's a very small head. Very small head. That's the best way. Now, to my first and only car crash to date. On request to nip out and get some milk in my 1997 Vauxhall Corsa, once red but by then a sun-kissed pink. And with elbows one day like this blaring out of some woeful speakers, my car lost stability, rotated a few times, bounced off a tree, and we nestled nicely on a curb, -3 of the wheels. Cue Nathan, not checking if we were okay or if we were hurt, things like that, but no, rather giving us that infamous line, as we all know, "I've lost my glasses!"
My first and last experience of breaking and entering. This after Nathan forgot his keys for once and locked 3 or 4 of us out of his house. We figured the only option was to break in over the back fence, climb over the shed in the garden, scale the roof, in through the bathroom window, job's good. Unfortunately, Nathan fell at the first hurdle. Went straight through Brian's shed roof on the way in. Brian, I don't really know if you believed us when we said it must have been Casey the cat, but please accept my apologies now.
Now, my first and last experience of stealing Nathan's keys. With Nathan leaving for a weekend at home, we made a last-minute dash to the bus stop to borrow his keys and retrieve a made-up phone from his room. Unfortunately for him, on his return, his room was filled with 1,000 balloons. Now, for anyone in the room that knows Nathan, you will understand quite how funny he definitely did not find it, and quite how angry he was. But now, when he leaves the house, the windows and doors are checked twice, the front doors checked 7 times, with a few reassuring words to himself captured on the Ring camera. You're welcome, Rachel.
Our first New Year's Eve out clubbing, curtailed by my first experience of Jack Daniels. Nathan has taken delight in filling in the blanks for me, reminding me of the New Year's Eve countdown he spent at a bus stop outside a club, looking after his rather poorly best mate, while the rest of our friends danced the night away.
And finally, my first experience of Londoners. Lancaster University is deep in the countryside, a world away from his home city. I recall one time when he brought his sister Lauren up for a weekend visit, and she, whilst hastily pointing at a cow, exclaimed she'd never seen one before. Nathan was the first to laugh at her. He'd cut his hair, he'd bought some walking boots, he'd put on his waterproof, and donned the very focals, and fully embraced country life.
There we go. Up this way, please. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. The pose and everything. Stunning. There he is. Hey, but just have a look at him today. Look at him. Tailored suit, Gucci shoes, and a skincare routine. Honestly, Rachel, on behalf of Nathan and Martin and I, we really just wanted to thank you for the glow up.
But in all seriousness, Nathan, when we talked about what you mean to us, we both said very similar things. A loyal friend, everyone's friend, there for everyone in their time of need, a constant and a laugh. And for those that may not be aware, a favourite of my 2 little girls who absolutely adore you. We are delighted that you found your life partner in Rachel, and it's been lovely to watch you 2 grow as a pair over the last 10 years. We are very much looking forward to watching Nathan's glow up continue.
Our strict 5-minute slot is more than up, and we personally would like to say a little higher and a good health to you too.
And so, with that,
Whoa. There's one more best man's convention that we haven't done. Stag do. So, just really quickly, there you go.
down this way. Down to the front as well, please.
Labouring it. Yeah, okay.
Keep going. Beautiful. I can only apologise. And so, with that, please join us in standing if you can. Please raise your glasses and give the most deserving, loving, yes, and rapturous cheers to our delightful bride and groom, to Rachel and Nathan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martin and Tom. I think Ant and Dec are out of a job, to be honest. So introduce the last speech of the evening. It is Rachel and Nathan. I wrote a couple words down for each of you. So Rachel, when I kind of was like, working on my job, I was thinking, Rachel, I've known you since MySpace. I've known you since the infamous Side Fringe. Thank you so much, Carmel, for stealing my joke. And now she's a gorgeous blushing bride. And honestly, it's just been an amazing journey to see you blossom and shine and meet an incredible partner in Nathan. And Nathan, you are so good for her, so kind-hearted, patient, handsome. The glow up is glow-upping. And last but not least, thank you so much, Apple Store Brent Cross, for all your service. You are the jewel of Brent Cross. Yeah.
So this isn't in our speech. Well, it might be later, but let's give a big round of applause for Iz, because this is honestly such a good job. So, hi everyone. Firstly, this is my husband.
And my wife.
Both Nathan and I would like to thank you all for joining us in Essex to celebrate our wedding and supporting us this year while we manically collect all the jars that you see around you, plan everything you see in front of you. We really appreciate every single one of you coming, especially those who my dad mentioned earlier, all the people who've come from all over the world to be here with us just for a few hours. We just really, really appreciate you flying, getting a boat, train, plane, everything.
All the time.
All of the above. Here we go. Oh no, that's me.
Exactly,
Sorry.
Ah.
There are so many people we want to and need to thank who got us here, who we really couldn't have done it without them. A massive, honestly, mind-blowing shout out to my lovely friend Amos, who was the celebrant of the whole evening. So, when thinking of people, Nathan and I wanted to do this for us when we first thought of the idea. We were like, who's good at speaking? Who can hold a room? And we just thought of Amos, and he's just done such an amazing job having late night Zoom calls with us and texting us, and all the things that he's done over the years. So we really appreciate it. And he's really recently engaged. I went off-piste. I've known Amos most of my life, and it's just such a full circle moment to have him marry me today. Our readers, Lauren, Sarah and Dexter, you all did such an amazing job. You really nailed that brief that I gave you months and months ago. You all did fantastically, and it was all so heartfelt and just exactly what we imagined for this day.
And I just wanted to thank all of Rachel's bridesmaids, Carmel, Lucy, Anissa, and Abby for keeping her calm, cool, and collected today. It's a challenge. Massive challenge. I know that Rachel really enjoyed her hen do and appreciated all the love. Martin and Tom, I did write down here, you both put in a massive shift, but that speech with the pictures, ridiculous. What did I actually write? It might have been quite nice. You both put a massive shift in with all the endless questions I had about weddings and marriage, and I obviously can't forget the other groomsmen, Jamal, Julian, for helping organise the stag. So thank you, everyone. Round of applause for them.
They also helped set up the room and everything this morning, came, so really thank you so much to Julian, Jamal, Tom and Martin. Lastly, our parents, Karen, Brian, who's next? Mark, Valerie. Without you, we literally wouldn't be here, literally. And we probably wouldn't have met if you weren't drawn to the Wuthering Heights of Muswell Hill all 30 plus years ago. We will be forever grateful for all the advice you have given us over the years, like never go to bed on a fight from Karen, and which is very true. We still do it, but it's fine. The advice is still there. Never stifle a generous thought. Valerie / my mother.
There's always room for ice cream, Mark. And last but not least, a man of very few words, my old man, always paying into your pension, Brian. We've known each other for 10 years last month and have gone through so much. Lockdown, living with my parents, buying a house, adopting a cat. Rachel actually turned me down the first time I asked her out. I am forgetting what we wrote down. We haven't really rehearsed this, but we'll carry on. But we made it here, and the ups and downs were totally worth it.
We're so excited and intrigued over what the future may hold for us. Those of you who already know Nathan know he's the most generous, gracious, genuinely kind and funny man. And we spend most evenings laughing our head off getting parmesan on Safi's head, or her eating up the cheese on the floor, found absolutely hilarious. Making up ridiculous songs about everything, and just generally hanging out with each other and spending all our time together. I know I'm heading into the future with the best person by my side, fighting my corner and lifting me up.
And Rachel, you are one of the kindest people I know, always there to pick me up after a bad day, offer support, or just be my biggest cheerleader, no matter how big or small the achievement may be. I can't think of anyone else I would rather spend my future with.
So before we close off the speech and raise a glass, we have a few housekeeping bits. Firstly, after these speeches, we need to move outside so the band can set up, we can have a good, fun time, and make most of this golden hour that's happening behind us, because the pictures will look fantastic. There will be a photo booth that's set up, and our audio guest book, we'd really like you to record a message about the day, and there's some prompts as well, so that'd be really, really good if you could do that. And the best one, the bar is now open. Great drinks, y'all!
So, if everyone can please stand, and we can raise our glasses. To my forever partner and a lifetime of love together, L'chaim.